I am here with Chris Haynes from GT Cup. It's lovely to see you. GT Cup is a championship that I see very fondly because ever since when I very first started in motorsport, this was like very high profile and has continued to be so, hasn't it?
It has. It's, well, I would say, but it's a great championship.
Yeah.
Founded by my brother Mark Haynes, who's sadly no longer with us. But as the Haynes family, we're very keen to keep the legacy alive. We believed, Mark and I used to race with my other brother Jay together in the Porsche Classics, and the fundamental values as to why we started the GT Cup still stand true today as they did all those years ago. And it's all about providing competitive, enjoyable sporting drivers the opportunity to race against like-minded individuals, and we're very keen to keep that AM club, but we're knocking on the door of the sort of British GT. I mean, our race champion from our championship champion from 2017, Graham, has gone on and won the British GT this year. So, a lot of people come to us with aspirations to move on, but equally we have a lot of drivers who stay with us year in, year out. And the feedback we get is because of the championship, the core value that I mentioned earlier about the camaraderie in the paddock.
Oh, that's something that I always really noticed, is the atmosphere is so lovely, isn't it?
It's fun. It's got to be about fun at the end of the day.
Yeah.
We're not professional drivers. We do this sport because we love it. We love to go fast. We love to have races. It's got to be clean. It's got to be fair. And that's probably the one thing that we work really hard on, is trying to maintain that the competition, but a fairness across the board. And I think it works well. I mean,
You have 7 rounds, is that right?
Yes.
And is that going to continue for 2020?
Yep, 7 rounds. There's been a few tweaks because, of course, everybody's calendars are provisional at the moment. I'm not sure if we've announced our latest, but we're still doing 7 rounds. I think one of them now will be at Alton, which will be a return to Alton. We didn't go this year, which we're excited about. And we're not doing a European round. We did those for 2 years, and we sort of put that to one side. We might do one next year in 2021. But our drivers predominantly because they're all predominantly professional businessmen, and this is a hobby. And the idea of going to Europe is expensive. It takes a lot of time out of the office, and so on and so forth. So we're doing 7 rounds, weekends, 2-day format. We do a free practice in qualifying. We're hoping to do those together with a small break in between, so they come in, everything's warmed up. The drivers' fluids are all warmed up as well as the car, and then they go out to do their qualifying, and then we have a 25-minute sprint race and then a 50-minute pit stop race, and that's repeated on the Saturday and the Sunday. And we also do the specific testing on the Friday, which they don't have to do, that's an extra, but then we try and create specific slots in the day when they can go out with other GT Cup cars. It's a good format. We're doing all the usual suspects: Silverstone GP, Donington GP, Brands GP, Snetterton 300, Alton, and some of those we go to twice. So
that's such a great calendar, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. We work with MSVR, and
in safe hands.
Yeah, and they have repeatedly bent over backwards to help us. We have a new format coming up this coming year, which we're pretty confident we'll be able to deliver. The last round last weekend was at Snetterton, and we tested the model, and it worked. So we're hoping to be able to go straight from pits to the track and race. No going to the assembly area, which all the teams and drivers have been asking for. And we were, because Silverstone unfortunately cancelled our round this year, we then rebooked for Snetterton. But because we went to Snetterton, it meant that we had lots of time available. And so we said, can we please test this format? And we did, and we started with a 12-minute from garage to race. And we got it down to 6 minutes, and they're kind of like happy days.
Yeah.
That's within the time frame that we allow. So that's for sure going to happen next year.
You're live streamed as well, aren't you now?
We are live streamed, not at all rounds. It's still a selective round, race by race. And that partly is infrastructure. Some of the circuits have got the infrastructure to be able to do it. Very early conversations with Race TV and Nick Barnett talking about how and where we're going to do that. But aspirationally, I'd love to do every round. It was exciting, it was fun, it was immediate. If not for no other reason than my family can watch me on television live.
Bet they love that as well. Earlier on, I had a chat to Graham Glue, and you and he sounds like you have a very interesting partnership going forwards.
Yes, for sure. So Graham's got this very impressive car that he's been developing this year, and he came to us looking for. I spoke to him in the beginning of the year, and we sort of kept the conversation going, and then he came to us a couple of months ago and said, look, I would really like to bring the car to the GT Cup. And well, as far as I'm concerned, he was leaning on an open door. The car fits our championship well. It's a great machine. It's big V8, and so we are going to insert them into our GTA group, and we'll see how it goes. I mean, I'm really excited for Graham and that car. I'm hoping that he's going to bring to the party a good number, and it's exciting.
Yeah, and that's just a really good combination of motorsport heads as well, I feel.
Yeah, and there's it's going to be up against BMWs and Ginettas and various other machines as well. So it's an interesting. It's going to be interesting to see how it goes. I mean, none of us really know for sure yet how it's going to perform, but on paper, it looks like it'll be fantastic.
I'm sure it would. So we're here once again at MotorsportDays live. You guys were here last year, were you?
Yes.
What brought you back?
What brought us back to MotorsportDays live? Many things. We actually found the show to be really good for engaging with our drivers and some of our partners. It's reasonable value, which makes a big difference because, ultimately for me to be here, it means I've got to take money out of the championship to be here. I'd much prefer to spend the money on the championship. So if I can go somewhere where I can have this sort of engagement and it gives value to everybody, then it's a no-brainer. I won't mention other events, but, questionable whether or not we should be even there because it's taking money away from. I'd much prefer to spend the money on beer after racing. If I'm honest, with my drivers. And I think
and the rest of the motorsport family.
Well, exactly. But, there's only a finite amount that you can do.
Yeah.
And, all these things are, and as long as it's targeted, it seems to work. It's in a great venue, great space. It's well organised. Well done to the two Bens.
Good. Thank you very much. Is there anything else you would like to tell us?
Well, there's the I suppose the other announcement, of course, which is probably no secret, but we are increasing our groups to 6 for next season, from 5. So we used to have we had the GTO group, which included GT3, but we've seen quite a few GT3 cars come to us this year, and we've decided that we're actually going to create their own group. So we're going to separate the GTO and the GT3 from each other. And then that means that the GT3s can race genuinely against other GT3s. Now, of course, they're all racing to come first, but when it comes to championship, it's kind of like we can peg GT3s to each other. And it's no different to the GTH group, which is for the GT4 cars. We separated them from the GTA GTBs last year, and that's gone very successfully. So we're going to have 6 groups: GT3, GTO, I've got to get this right now, GTC for the Ferrari Challengers and so on. GTB, GTH, which is for the GT4 cars, and GTA, which is where Graham and the Project X is going.
So
Project
glad
8.
I don't have to present that one.
Yeah, there's quite a lot. There is, but we have a wide variety of cars, drivers, different interests, but fundamentally we all go racing because we enjoy it and we want to have fun. And if you're not having fun, then quite frankly, probably the GT Cup's not for you. But if you want to have fun motorsport, competitive fun motorsport, then the GT Cup, there's nowhere better.
That was a very nice place to finish. Thank you very much.
Thanks for your time. Thank you. Thank you.